Racing.net today. Two big grade ones, two of the biggest races on the calendar have taken place. We'll take a look back at what happened. And we still have two races to come before we close out this special Saturday card here at Saratoga Springs. Greg Wolf alongside Sarah Al-Badwi making this 2024 Saratoga debut. Good to have you on set. And we witnessed some pretty special performances, which we'll get to early on, but we still have more to come.
We do. Two more races to close things out. So if you need to save yourself with some wagers later on, you still have time for the bailout two races and decent ones on the way as well. Some good horses coming up in those next two races.
Yes, one of them seems like you could certainly narrow it down with it coming off the grass. We'll get to that race coming up in a moment. The other race seems very wide open, and that's the next race. Take a look at what we have coming up, presented by Claiborne Farm. Muddy. We've been off the turf all day. Two of our bigger races were canceled. Two of our stakes are going to be run next Saturday. The Saratoga Derby Invitational and the Troy. We have races 12 and 13 to come, and we'll show you what happens in that Hambletonian Oaks from the Meadowlands, where Lisa Hanover trying to win her 11th straight race. Amazing.
Any horse at any sport that's going on such a win streak, that's impressive to be able to do that over and over and over again. And those harness horses, they race more frequently than our thoroughbred race horses. So to see a horse have those wins back to back to back to back, very impressive.
So the Oaks, race 14 from the Meadowlands, and there she is, Lisa Hanover, trying to win an 11th straight. Although the task a little bit tougher this time around here, landing that inside spot in the rail. It'll be a first ever Oaks win for Hall of Famer in the bike, David Miller. For more, let's send it out to the Meadowlands. Jessica Otten and Gabe Pruitt.
Thanks, guys. I think the rain has maybe settled down for a little bit here. We obviously saw Carl deliver as the favorite from the rail. Lisa Hanover will look to make it 11 in a row this year from the rail for David Miller and Annie Stobie. And she's been ultra impressive this season.
She really has, Jess. I wouldn't take anything away from her. Ripped off 10 in a row, as we said. Great story here. Annie Stobie, a bright young trader in our game. She's in her mid-30s, so she's rolling with just a handful of horses. This is a star of the barn right now with Lisa Hanover. As we mentioned, Dave Miller looking for his first Oaks victory. But, you know, a short price going to come here, Jess. She's just even money on the board right now. I'm not sure she merits that type of attention. You know, she's had her own way on the lead. The half miles have been popping up 57 and change routinely. She's gotten all the respect. I think here today with $500,000 on the line in our sister event at the Hambletonian and the Oaks, that Lisa Hanover is going to be tested like she has never been tested before. We'll see if she is up to the challenge.
Noel Daly sends out 3 fillies in this race, and I know you give a lot of respect and credit to Buy Around. You know, she got into the final by being the highest money earner, 4th place finisher in the eliminations, but she had to come a tough trip in that elim.
Yeah, she really did. She was first up. The back half there was huge, and she was battling Lisa Hanover. So actually, Lisa Hanover off those slow fractions. Buy Around was set to do all the work there on the outside to apply pressure. You know, that trip just did not work in her favor. I think just here in a full field of 10, good group, deep group. I think with the big money on the line, we're going to see several of these horses take a shot. That's why I think we're going to see a solid tempo. I don't think Lisa Hanover is going to see a 57-second half here. I think it's going to be more in the 55-second range, and I think that's what tees up Buy Around. I really like her quite a bit in this spot. She's up there 6-1 on the board. Perfect post here. She's sort of a one-run filly. So driver Andy McCarthy is just going to have to time that move properly. He's going to hope that he has a quick pace to chase, and he'll look to pounce when it counts.
The price on Lisa Hanover is drifting up a bit, and that's probably due to the fact that there were 3 eliminations, so it was very competitive racing there. R. Molina was an elimination winner. She went right down the road from post 8. She now is coming into the race off of back-to-back wins.
Yeah, she's razor sharp. You can't take anything away from her. Trainer John Bootenshane has done a great job with her. Todd McCarthy, the bike here. She actually upset Buy Around, Jess, a couple of starts ago. That's sort of when she came on my radar as possibly a top filly. You know, obviously she had a great 2-year-old campaign as well. Speaking of the 3R Molina, had $375,000 there nearly. So she's always made money. She's always been right there. But, you know, this is the sport's biggest stage for these 3-year-old trotting Fighting Phillies. She has proven off back-to-back wins, including in her elimination last week, that she belongs.
Allegiant was, I believe, third in that Mohawk Million last season as a 2-year-old. She was an elimination winner by 4 lengths, 151-4, home 27 flat. She is very quick.
She really is. And a great story here with the connections, too. Trainer Vernon Beachy runs a string of horses in Northeast Ohio, just outside of Cleveland. So he ships Allegiant all over. He's here on the big dance today with the Hambletonian Oaks. She had not possibly looked any better than that elimination victory. It was a nice rating in the front end. Again, that's what's going to be the difference in this race as opposed to the eliminations, Jess. The pace scenario is going to be very lively. So, who is going to step up and respond when they're really put to the test?
Warwi Michelle was a Breeders' Crown winner last season for Aki Svanstedt and company. She's 10-1 on the board right now. She was third in her elimination. She trotted home really strongly.
She really did. That's the 2 Warwi Michelle. She made almost $500,000 last year at the age of 2. Really, she hadn't had her fastball working, I'll call it, Jess, so far at the age of 3. She'd just been okay. With that start here last week, she really stepped up. She was closing up the inside, had a big late kick. Trainer Oka Svanstedt, we caught up with him a little earlier after he won a previous race in the card. He said that he feels like this filly is coming right back into herself. I think Warwi Michelle could be a live long shot here, perhaps double digits.
He also sends out the 7 French Champagne. Now, Dexter Dunn both drove French Champagne and Date Night Hanover. He opted for Date Night Hanover, but I want to chat about French Champagne. Andy Miller will pick up the drive in near. That was a very game effort. She had a long way to come on the outside. She was second behind Allegiant. She gets an aggressive driver.
Yeah, and maybe just got started a little late. And we know Andy Miller loves to be aggressive, as you said. So will he race her off the pace, or will he take a big early shot? I think he may, but she was 3-5 in her elimination, soundly defeated second. Dexter opted off. He did have his choice here, as you mentioned. That was the only knock, but we'll see. I think a change of tactics coming today with Andy and the bike on French Champagne. She's another good figure here at a good number. She's getting a little outrider assistance, I see at the moment, up there at 17-1.
The 3-year-old filly trotters are heading towards the gate. It's the Hambletonian Oaks final. Will Alyssa Hanover make it 11 in a row, or will it be another elimination winner or one of the other ones? It is the Hambletonian Oaks final. We'll send it to Ken Workington for the call.
The Hambletonian Oaks for $525,000 field of 10 lining up. Elimination winner, the 1, Alyssa Hanover at even money. 9-2 in the 4, Allegiant. Another elimination winner, and the 6 by a round is 5-1. Armelina, elimination winner, is 9-1 right now. So it's Alyssa Hanover, the even money favorite. Race 14, the Hambletonian Oaks final. Here they come. And the fillies are off and trotting. Miss Isla and French Champagne out quickly with Armelina on the inside. And right there's Warwi Michelle and Alyssa Hanover out sprinted into the first turn. Miss Isla takes the lead. It's Miss Isla, Warwi Michelle, and French Champagne sweeps up on the outside. As they head to the opening quarter, Armelina advances into 4th now and going up. Alyssa Hanover is 5th past the opening quarter. And then on the inside comes Allegiant, followed by Around at the rear of the field, Paulina Hanover and Date Night Hanover and Drawn Impression. 26-2, a toward opening fraction for French Champagne. Here comes Armelina. Elimination winner, Armelina and Todd McCarthy taking over now. French Champagne back in 2nd, Miss Isla's 3rd. Warwi Michelle is 4th, and edging to the outside, Alyssa Hanover from 5th. Allegiant is 6th past the half. Shooting through his Date Night Hanover to the inside. Then comes Around and Paulina Hanover. Way back, a breaker, Drawn Impression. 54-3 for the half onto the far turn. Armelina now leads it. She's the target. Armelina, French Champagne on the inside 2nd. Warwi Michelle first over and driving at the leader as they head to 3/4. It's Miss Isla pinned in 4th. Alyssa Hanover second. 4th on the outside in prime striking position. Date Night Hanover was shuffled back on the inside. Stride for stride with Allegiant, who has excess cover. Armelina leads the Oaks home. It is 1:23-3 for 3/4. Armelina game first over. Warwi Michelle trying to wear her down. Slipping through Date Night Hanover on the rail with late trot. Warwi Michelle in between horses French Champagne. It's still Warwi Michelle drawing clear. Far outside, By Around is flying. Warwi Michelle, then By Around, then Allegiant, then Miss Isla. 151-2.
Well, what an interesting final there to final last quarter there. Gabe Warwie Michelle was game first over and against Armelina.
Yeah, she really was, Jess, and we had just spoken about how trainer Oka Sponstedt had mentioned that he thought Warwie Michelle was maybe rounding back into that 2-year-old form where she made nearly $500,000 so far this year at 3. Not much to show for it. She had 3 starts, a third. Her third coming in that Hambletonian Oaks elimination, but boy, was he ever right, because she did pick today to fire her best effort so far of the year. Maybe her best effort ever, Jess. 151-2 by 2 full seconds. That's now her career best. She is the Hambletonian Oaks champion at a very generous 13-1.
By around was game on the outside there. Trotting home strongly, just ran out of real estate.
Yeah, she ended up 4th over. So it's nice to have cover, but you don't want to have excess cover, let's say. So she was about 6 or 7 lengths off turning for home. She was forced to go 3 and 4 wide there. You'll see that good rally she put down the center, but just left herself a little too much work to do.
Warwie Michelle, Aki Sponstedt and company. She sets a new lifetime mark in the Hambletonian Oaks final, 151-2. We'll send it back to you guys.
Jessica, Gabe, thank you too very much. First win of 2024 for this filly, and it comes in a pretty big moment.
And having that first win in a stage like this, on a stage like this, was such a heavy favorite as well, and being able to prevail with a move that we saw around the quarter of that race was impressive to see.
Let's get into race 12 here from Saratoga on Whitney Saturday. 7/8 of a mile. It's a first allowance condition race. And the favorite right now, it's Striker Has Dial, who's just second in the Wilton, a stake on opening day.
And she was a horse that had finished second at a huge price to Ways and Means in that breakout allowance win that Ways and Means had. Of course, Ways and Means performed very well earlier in the VEC Grade 1 test. She makes a lot of sense in here. It's just a matter if she can make those seconds into wins going forward.
And she can be quick early, too. How quick is she? Is she going to be in front?
It depends on what the number 1 Bonadou wants to do from the rail. I think Flavien Prat, a more aggressive rider, one that does like to get that position going forward. And I think the rail draw kind of forces his hand early, but I think Striker Has Dial might just be a little bit faster.
There is Nikitas for Chad Brown. He had a pretty big win earlier on the card, which we will look back on in the test. And a look right there at Zadorsky. This one, a strong effort coming in a 7/8 race. It was a win at Churchill Downs.
And if you think this pace is going to heat up, this is the horse that you likely want to be coming from off of it. And that effort last time out shows that this is a horse that's taking steps in the right direction, improving over time.
There's the 5 Audacious. First time out for Todd Pletcher. It was a win. And it was at Saratoga during that Belmont Stakes Racing Festival back in early June. So productive debut.
Absolutely, and of course these are connections that are going to take money in spots like this, but for a horse that's only run once to be running at a spot similar to this with horses that have proven themselves a little bit more, everybody's lightly raced, but yeah, we've seen some faster numbers from some of the foes this one is going to be facing, and we did see a couple horses come out of that race and not really perform quite as well.
Have our post parade here coming up shortly. Look at Luis Saez, front and center of your screen. He'll be on Zadorsky, one of the main players, and 7-2 right now. Of course, he's got a pretty big 3-year-old. He's going to be riding here in the DraftKings Travers late August.
He's pretty good, right?
Dornick, who is right now the leader of that division with that Belmont and Haskell victory. We'll see what happens after the Travers. Here's Bon Adieu, Rudy Rodriguez.
See how aggressive Flavien Prat is with a horse who does have some early speed, though maybe not quite quick enough.
2-1 favorite, Striker Has Dial. Kendra Carmouche rides.
She was on top of a pace that was really coming apart late. A horse was really pulling Joel Rosario in that last race. We'll see if she can turn those seconds into wins.
History-making trainer Jenna Antonucci of Arcangelo in the Belmont Stakes and Travers last year as she prospers.
This horse is trying dirt for the first time, has done well in some routes on turf and synthetic.
Here's Zadorsky with Luis Saez.
That horse who is likely to be coming from off the pace if things do heat up on the front has faced some good ones in the past as well.
I always credit a horse when they win first time out, but it does seem like Audacious would need a big jump forward here.
She would, and this horse was bet. She can obviously take that next step forward, but at a short price, I'd look to play against.
Now, Miss Enchanted, she actually took a bit of a step up in class. It was at Ellis, though, from Churchill to Ellis, and won a maiden special weight last start.
She took a little while to break through, but that was a nice performance last time. Could also be forward.
Major player here for the Linda Rice Barn, St. Benedict's Prep.
And just has those consistent numbers, unlike some of the other horses in this field as well.
And never count out this barn. Chad Brown, leading trainer at the meet with Nikitas, blinkers on.
I know she didn't perform last time out quite as well as we maybe expected, but she's a horse that could take another step forward. Second off the layoff here, blinkers do go on as well.
3 minutes to post. We started this day with a sloppy racetrack. It's been muddy most of the afternoon. How do they look warming up? Let's go to Richie Migliori for more.
Thanks, Greg. And we'll start with the 2. Striker Has Dial. Horse that makes obviously a lot of sense on paper. She's your favorite right now. Making a nice impression. She's got a good sweat on, but it's pretty humid today, and I want to see a horse get a sweat on, making a nice impression, getting that Kendrick Carmouche warm up. The 5 horse, Audacious, was real nice maiden winner, set fast fractions. I thought she got a bit tired, rightfully so, late. I do think she has to improve and step forward, but I will say, when I look at a first-time starter that ran as hard as she did on debut, coming back in their second start, I look to see if that race shook them up, if they got a little bit, rattled by that experience. She handled it well, and she was really, really good in the paddock. Nice impression on the warm-up under Johnny Velasquez. In the bridle, but not rank, not keyed up. I like to see that off of a first effort like that. The 6-horse Misenchanted took a little while to break her maiden, but her last race was her best yet. Really solid individual here, daughter of Maximus Mischief. You could see the Into Mischief influence, that being her grandsire. Solid looking filly at a big price that I think has a chance here. I think she'll be well placed under Junior Alvarado, your Whitney winning rider. And then my selection will be number 7, St. Benedict's Prep. She could not look any better. She's been in really good form. If you put a line through the stumble where she lost her rider 3 starts back, all of her races have been very, very good recently, and I think she's just holding her form and making the right physical impression here.
Mig, thanks. Jose Lezcano, Linda Rice, always a formidable team on the New York circuit. And this one, reportedly, too, according to the DRF Clocker report, some sharp works coming in.
And since Linda Rice claimed this horse a couple starts ago, she's really done nothing wrong, looking at how she's gradually improved against tougher company. And even that one race that was mentioned where she lost her rider, you can't hold that against her. This was a solid second-place performance. Nikitas was also in this race. Cupid's Heart showed some signs of talent and ability, rounding back into form perhaps a horse that had the credentials, if you look back in the page. And she ran a good race to finish second to that one. Those last 2 races for her are by far her fastest. And she's faced some tougher company, which gives you some hope that she's really enjoying things in the Linda Rice barn. She's stepped things up to the next level. She's an obvious competitor here.
She's been very good at 7/8 of a mile as well, so there she is. 3-1 second choice on the board. St. Benedict's Prep. Meanwhile, the favorite, Striker Has Dial, seems like she just has a lot of upside in here. Very lightly raced. She won her debut on a muddy sealed track in Maryland, and then she's come here to the New York circuit and proven that she's serious.
And I think finishing second to Ways and Means 2 starts ago at that huge price, you kind of wondered if that was a fluke or if she was able to back it up. This race, she backed it up. There was a horse in front of her that was setting very fast fractions. She's a horse that wants to be forwardly placed. She had no choice but to go and be a part of that early pace. And she was game in defeat in here, just getting run down by Miss Justify, who really got the trip. Didn't regress much in terms of her buyer speed figure from that start 2 back to that one where she finished second in that Wilton. I think now she's sort of showing that she is the real deal and needs to be taken seriously, just a matter of how much pace pressure she has to deal with early on.
And, obviously no 2 similar type off tracks are the same. If you're even at the same racetrack on a different day. But she did win on a muddy sealed track in the debut, so does that count for something?
I think it's not something that I would really look into because it was a slower race. However, knowing that they can do it on a surface that has taken a little bit of rainwater, it's always a positive to show that they can at least handle it in some capacity.
Rider off, that's Javier Castellano on the 3. She prospers. He's going to let the starting gate crew work their magic and get her into the gate. She was a maiden winner on synthetic in her second start. She's never been on dirt before. This will be her first try over this surface. And she cooperates, and Javier Castellano will hop aboard. Favorite, 9-5, the 2. Striker Has Dial. Kendrick Carmouche rides from post 2. Let's go upstairs for the call. The 12th from Saratoga. Here's Frank Miramati.
One more. Nikitas to the outside. They're in the gate. And they're off. Striker Has Dial is hustled very hard out of the gate. Audacious with plenty of natural early speed too. Matches strides through the opening furlong. And Misenchanted is not far behind, racing in between horses. St. Benedict's Prep makes it for them, vying for command. Zadorsky is fifth, about 3 and 4 lengths off the lead. It's another 2 back to Nikitas, racing on the outside of Bonadeux. And the trailer is She Prospers. The opening quarter went in 22 and 2/5 seconds. And it is Striker Has Dial controlling things on the front end. Getting a bit of pressure now from Audacious, who's asked to counter once again within a neck of the pacemaker. St. Benedict's Prep is 3 deep in third, and Zadorsky rides the rail in fourth with 3.5 lengths to make up. Misenchanted has lost some ground at this stage. 6 lengths off the lead, Nikitas, Bonadeux, and 3 more back to She Prospers. 45 flat there at the top of the stretch, and Striker Has Dial has been there every step of the way. Called on to spurt clear and leads it by 2. On the inside, Zadorsky. St. Benedict's Prep is still very much in the thick of it. In fact, here's St. Benedict's Prep right up alongside and right on by. Zadorsky is coming through along the inside late. It is St. Benedict's Prep. St. Benedict's Prep and Jose Lezcano win it by a length over Zadorsky. Striker Has Dial third, and Misenchanted really started getting going late.
Striker Has Dial quick early, but St. Benedict's Prep strong late. Linda Rice, Jose Lezcano.
And she's just really turned the corner over those last couple of races, really showing that progressive improvement. And a horse that was going to sit the right kind of trip in this race. Also one of the only older horses in this field. A lot of 3-year-old fillies facing older for the first time. One of only 2 that is that older type. So a little bit more mature, a little bit more developed, and ultimately a little bit better.
3 wins now. The last 5 starts, and one of those starts didn't even finish the race. Lost the rider. Really sharp form for St. Benedict's Prep. 4-year-old filly who's now 4 for 14 overall. And as we mentioned, she loves this 7/8 trip as well.
She's really thrived at the 7 furlong distance. It seems to suit her running style just perfectly, where she gets that little bit of pace in front of her, gets to have that stalking position, but isn't left with too much to do when things come down to the wire.
7-4-2-6 finish. Speed backs up to third. Zadorsky takes second, but it's all about St. Benedict's Prep on this muddy racetrack here in race 12 on Whitney Saturday. 2 wins the last 3 starts. We'll have the prices from this one when we come back. We still have the nightcap to come, and we'll look back on the Grade 1 Whitney. He was quick out of the gate, intent to get to the front. Arthur's ride just kept on rolling. Take a look back at his special performance next.
The Best 2-Year-Old by legendary sire Quality Road.
Hit back, $1.5 million.
Very, very impressive debut. Cantering home. Could not have been more impressive.
Coast to coast in the American Pharaoh. He's the real deal.
Undefeated and unchallenged at 2.
He's just too good. He wins the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Corniche.
Monmouth Park's 50-cent Win Early Pick 5 is one of the country's earliest Pick 5s, making it the perfect way to get your wagering day started. With a 12:50 post on weekends and 2 p.m. start on Fridays, the Win Early Pick 5 is home to a low 15% takeout and 6-figure pools. Start your day winning early. Play Monmouth Park's Win Early Pick 5. Win early, win often.
Back with you on our Fox Sports 1 coverage from historic Saratoga Racecourse. It's brought to you in part where you can play all the action all summer long and beyond. Get signed up, started at NYRABets.com. Race 12, it goes to this one. St. Benedict's Prep on a roll right now for trainer Linda Rice, who's with the MIG.
Thanks, Greg. And Linda, St. Benedict's Prep is really in good form. I mean, just a race that she stumbled, and she's really not taking a back step.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, disappointing. But since then, one unfortunate incident. She's trained very well, and she's run as well as she's trained.
Looking at her in the paddock and then watching her warm up, it looks like she really holds her weight well.
She really does. She's an absolutely beautiful filly. I'm thrilled with her, and I think that she could continue to improve, and I see some stakes in her future.
Well, she didn't run much slower than the test ran. Now, she is a 4-year-old, those are 3-year-olds, but, Ways and Means is a filly. People are talking about the Breeders' Cup Sprint. This filly didn't run much slower than she did.
Well, I didn't have quite that high of aspirations, but, I just think that this fall, I've told Ronnie Stewart, the owner, that I really think with her pedigree, and she's maturing, she's got some age under her now, she's becoming a professional, she's trained great, and I'm definitely targeting some stakes stuff for her, and it'll give her some real broodmare value down the road. And as you said, she's a beautiful filly physically.
And also a really nice victory in the lure, running 1-2 as well.
Yeah, that was fun. And, it's always nice when you have clients that drive all the way up from Saratoga that came from the city, and they get to go to the winner's circle. So that's terrific.
Linda, great job. Congratulations.
Thank you, Richie.
Guys.
Another of these, and this is how she won the meet last year, tied as leading trainer for the meet. Another Kentucky claim for $80,000 at Keeneland, and now 2 wins and a narrow second since that claim.
And spotting her horses so well, that's a theme that we have seen on repeat with Linda Rice, being able to put those horses in spots where they can be competitive, and this was an example of one of them as well.
Going to look back on one of the big ones, Grade 1 Whitney. It was a chance for National Treasure to really cement his status as not only the top older horse in the country, maybe a horse of the year, was not to be. Horse who'd run the fastest dirt speed figure of anyone this year backs it up in graded stakes company. And look at the intention from Junior Alvarado on Arthur's Ride, the 11 here.
He wanted the lead with this horse, a horse that has done his best running when he's been able to secure the front end, and that was the game plan from the second the gates broke. You could tell that Junior wanted to get to the front with this horse and thought that would be his best chance of winning, and it certainly was. And I think Arthur's Ride, it was just a question of whether or not he was going to be able to back up that 111 Beyer speed figure that he ran last time out. I think he certainly showed that when he gets the lead, he could keep that going, keep that momentum going forwards. A couple of horses running from the back, croupy post time, but he really stamped himself as a serious older horse to contend with.
That question, I guess, going forward, maybe he'll never have to prove it because he is maybe just that quick, but can he sit off horses and be as effective? He didn't need to do it, obviously, today. This was a huge performance against some of the best in this division. Now he's right in the forefront as a major player.
Well, I think he has to be taken very seriously because National Treasure was the horse that going in, we kind of thought of as the horse that leading the division. Now, with that poor performance in the Whitney, it's wide open yet again to have someone really step up and be the star of the older horse division. And
somewhat fitting, too, that Bill Mott wins this race because last year he was very sporting, putting Cody Swish in this race. So we know he was a miler. That was his thing, and he was tremendous at it, but he took a shot in this race, I think a little bit because everybody wanted it, but also to see if his horse could handle going longer and maybe get to the Classic. And Cody Swish had nothing to prove at those mile distances or those shorter distances. It's time to see what you're made of. You can step up to some of those longer distances. It didn't work out for Cody Swish, but it certainly worked out for Arthur's Ride and here with that front-running score. And, I mean, is he now somewhat at the top of the division? I would think so. That two, obviously back-to-back performances, but this is the first in graded stakes company. But he showed that last performance that was the fastest speed figure run on dirt this year was for real. So he's going to be exciting to see what he does next. We'll look earlier on in the card, Grade 1 test, and third time the charm for Ways and Means in Grade 1 company. We'll take a look back at her performance right after this.
Liam's Map, a 2-time Grade 1 winner with 6 consecutive triple-digit buyers, including a 114 to win the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. He's already taking the lead as a sire with Grade 1 winners Basin, Wicked Whisper, Colonel Liam, and Juju's Map, plus multiple 6-figure yearling sales and 2-year-old sales up to $1.2 million. Proven on the track, proven in the sales ring. Liam's Map, only at Lane's End.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at nairabets.com.
History remembers moments of extraordinary strength, skill, and determination. True greatness is forged by those who fulfill their destiny.
And More Spirit takes over coming past the wire. It will be More Spirit to win the Los Alamitos Futurity by a length and a half.
This is just an unbelievable day for Bob Baffert and Mike Smith. They are unstoppable. More Spirit has dominated the Met Mile. He won it by 7 lengths.
Back at our Fox Sports 1 coverage from Saratoga. It's brought to you in part by Mohegan Sun. All in for Mohegan. We took a look back at the Whitney. Prior to that, it was the Grade 1 test presented by Ticketmaster for 3-year-old fillies. One of the most prestigious races there is in that division. Run all year long, and ways and means. I guess last start was sort of the coming out party. Now this was the true coming out party.
She's always been a horse that's been well thought of, especially since her debut where she had that sparkling performance as a 2-year-old right here. Ambitious placings, showing up in each of them, and finally getting that Grade 1 for her. Must feel like a long time coming in some ways for Connections, but this was an impressive race, and she's always been a solid Grade 1 type of horse, able to show up in some of those bigger spots. I think she proved herself today.
No question. A hand ride late to the wire under Flavian Pratt, and he said he actually broke so sharp on her, but he said, well, I don't want to try something new with her this afternoon. We're going to sit off the early speed and make this kind of run, which she produces big time. And again, Chad Brown, Seth Klarman, Klarovich Stables, they felt all along she was a Grade 1 winner, and she proved it today.
She did, and a horse that had shown up in those Grade 1 types of races, as we mentioned, running second in that spin away last year, and really taking that step forward as a 3-year-old in that race last time out. That was a big performance from her, triple-digit buyer, and I think that she proved that that's a legitimate effort from her against better quality company.
And I know Flavian Pratt, I think afterwards said he felt she can go longer. Chad Brown says we're going to work backwards from the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint run at this 7/8 distance. Let's go to Mig. Mig, of these Grade 1s, who impressed you the most today?
It just has to be Arthur's Ride. For him to outrun a quality field that was laden with speed from that post position and take them gate to wire. And anytime you go a sub 47.5 at Saratoga going 2 turns on the dirt, that is a fast pace, and this horse just continued. He never looked like he was going to lose. That was super impressive. I think he threw his hat in the ring as a real player in this older horse division, but also Junior Alvarado. And what he did on the gallop out, Arthur's Ride kind of put his toes in the ground and ducked to the right. He unseated Junior. The fact that he was able to land on his feet, Greg, and run alongside this horse and pull him up from the ground, it was an athletic feat that most people will never understand just how hard it was to do. Not just to keep your balance hitting the ground, still going probably about 20 miles an hour, but stopping a 1,000-pound horse from the ground, holding onto the reins. I thought that was absolutely special. Such an athletic endeavor.
Yeah, if you were watching the Fox Saratoga Saturday coverage, you witnessed just what Mig was talking about. And terrific that there's nothing wrong at all. Arthur's rider's just fine. Great job by Junior Alvarado. And now, obviously, he was on board Cody's Wish last year, that Horse of the Year campaign. He's got another very good one.
Absolutely. Really flourishing in terms of the partnership that he's had all along with trainer Bill Mott and showing up in the biggest spots for him time and time again. We've really seen him become one of those riders that is that go-to for Bill, but also several other trainers as well, and can perform at all venues on the biggest stages.
So all of a sudden, older horse division thrown into a little chaos. So we got to start over. Things, they often change here when we get to this meet.
They do, and we see this meet really bring all these horses together at a couple of months out from the Breeders' Cup, really able to tell us who's going to be the main players, who are going to be those main players going forwards into the fall, because we often see horses start the year on a strong note, but everything changes at the mid-year point, and we're seeing those divisions be shaken up right now.
Going to close out this card with a race taken off the turf. We'll talk more about this field in a moment. If we can lock in at 4-5 on this guy right here, Drake's Passage. Unfortunately, we can't. I don't think we'll get 4-5 or anything close. We'll be back to talk about his chances when we come back.
And clear off at the Naira Ben Haskell.
In the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga.
Dornock setting up moderate pace, 3/4 of a length ahead.
And as the field turns for home, Mind Frame on the outside. It's coming after Dornock.
They're at it again. The two Belmont first and second place finishers
will be Dornock to win the Belmont Stakes.
Dornock wins the Haskell.
Jaw-dropping, awe-inspiring, Secretariat-like.
The phasing tipped in July sale was really kind of the kickoff that the breeding season's over. It's the kickoff for yearlings, but Saratoga is the crown jewel. It's the premier summer sale. You're going to have buyers from all over the world that come in, watch their horses race during the afternoon, come to the sale at night, and buy top quality racehorses. We're excited at Gainesway to bring a talented crop of 20+ yearlings to the Saratoga Select Sale this year.
Located at the Oklahoma training track, the Whitney viewing stand provides a picturesque view of morning workouts. Modeled after the 1892 Judges Stand at Saratoga Racecourse, the Whitney Viewing Stand opened in 2013 to honor the racetrack's 150th anniversary and the Whitney family. The Whitneys have been intimately involved with the track for more than a century, and their contributions to the facility and community remain evident today. Mary Lou Whitney, considered by many to be the Grand Dame of Saratoga or Queen of Saratoga, was present for the stand's public debut. Mary Lou bred and raced 2003 Kentucky Oaks winner Birdtown. She's the only woman to have done so and was inducted into the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame as a pillar of the turf in 2019. The scenery from the Whitney Viewing Stand is a true testament to Mary Lou and her family's devotion to the sport's most iconic racetrack. Well, that Whitney Viewing Stand, great place to catch those morning workouts over on the Oklahoma training track, just behind Saratoga Race Course. So many special spots here. Of course, Whitney weekend, where you remember all the great contributions that Mary Lou made. We probably wouldn't be here. This racetrack might not be here if not for her.
And you see Mary Lou Whitney Way coming up as soon as you pull into Saratoga, getting on that main strip and really seeing those horses crossing the street for their morning workouts or after the races. It really just brings you in to the whole environment and gets you excited for the anticipation of those races to come. And it's just a full atmosphere down the whole street of horses.
Still have the nightcap to come real quick. We're going to go back to the Meadowlands, wrap up the Hambletonian Oaks. Warrawee Michelle with the upset score. Aki Sponstedt, trainer and driver here of your Oaks winner who had not had a win this year until this performance.
And your favorite in this race, she just really never seemed to get going, never really finding that pacing stride. And this is a horse that was making that move on the turn. We saw really able to get herself into contention, and a nice 13-1 if you had her.
Buy around Allegiant, complete the trifecta, but the Oaks all about Warrawee Michelle and that impressive performance, paying almost $30 for that win. Let's get to this finale coming up. Meant for the turf, it comes off main track now, and because of that, with all these scratches, and there's one name that stands out by a long ways: Drake's Passage from the outside post.
It's the true dirt horse in a field of horses that were maybe a little bit more turf meant or have not quite run against the same level of competition that he has. He's just a cool horse that seems to always show up. New York bred stakes winner, and he is going to be very tough to get past in this field.
Going to have a short post parade with who remains in here. We start with Capture the Flag, Todd Pletcher, John Velasquez.
We'll say at least this horse did win his debut sprinting on the dirt right here at Saratoga.
6-1, inheriting that inside post. Junior Alvarado, a Whitney win, and now Cyber Ninja for Bill Mott.
And I will say, at least to his credit, he has won an off-the-turf race in his last start. This is a little bit tougher, though.
Black Powder at 11-1. It's Tyler Gaffleone for Joe Sharp.
Dirt meant, yes, classing up, not quite sure with this one, but at least you know he can handle the surface.
Jump all the way to the 12. Here's Magical Ways, who actually has some big dirt performances, especially at Aqueduct.
He does, and a horse that has been switched over to the turf as of late, but plenty of performances on dirt that put him in the mix.
Here's Flavian Pratt on Phileas Fogg.
Horse that's run well on both turf and dirt, has a 92 buyer on dirt and an off the turf race, a win 3 starts ago rather.
And an imposing favorite at 3-5 and deserves to be. Here's Drake's Passage.
A horse that ran third last time out in that Brooklyn, trying that marathon distance. We saw Krupe, who finished second in that race, just come back to finish second in the Whitney. Next, one of the top older horses that we have, a marathoner. Just his string of races, his career overall. He's a big, big player coming into the spot and really classes up and over the rest of his foes.
Manny Franco will be aboard 1-2 on Drake's Passage. And a look back to June the 9th on a muddy sealed track. The commentator in a 4-length win, gate to wire at this mile and an 8 distance.
You know that he can handle the distance. You know he can handle the surface. You know that he is the classiest horse in this field in terms of who he's faced and the kinds of numbers that he's been able to pair up. on repeat over and over again in terms of the level of competition he's faced and being able to really show that he shows up each and every time. He's just a cool horse. And as far as this race coming off the turf, at least we do get to see him run today, a very classy individual.
5 minutes to post. 1-2 favorite, Drake's Passage. Let's go to Mig.
Yeah, I mean, looking at these guys, I mean, obviously Drake's Passage looks like a standout, but I got to say, from a physical perspective, number 5, Cyber Ninja, he could not look any better. He is as well turned out as any horse I saw today, and I saw a lot of well turned out horses today. I'm going to make him my top selection. I think that it's possible that the 14, Phileas Fogg, who was very, very sharp here on the racetrack and as he galloped off under Flavien Prat, has speed. And I know his better races have been on turf, but I think he could potentially be a thorn in the side of Drake's Passage, who admittedly I think looks like the best horse on paper. He looks terrific in the flesh. I have no knocks about how he looks in the paddock or warming up. But I just thought that maybe the 5 potentially trips out, and for a horse that looks really good, I'll take a little bit of a shot with your second choice.
All right, Mig, good luck. You look at your favorite here, and he's got that beneficial outside post, and he has been able to sit off speed and win before.
And just knowing that he's capable of having that tactical ability, that he doesn't necessarily need the lead, but he can be a horse that's going to sit close up, not give himself too much to do in this compact field. And when you have these more compact fields, it does end up being more of that rider's race, everyone jockeying for their position early on, but at least he is a horse that, as you mentioned, he draws advantageously towards the outside, and he is one that can get himself into that stalking position without being too far out of things. This race goes through him. I would be very surprised if someone upsets him.
1-2, is that fair on him in this race?
Well, we knew we weren't getting 4-5, I will say that, but in terms of the competition he's facing in here, I don't know if 1-2 is necessarily a price you ever want to take, but for him in this race, it makes sense.
Looks pretty good. I mean, he's coming out of a race in which we're going to see the horse who beat him last time out. I was going a different distance. It was going a lot longer, mile and 3/8. That horse is going to be a 1-9 morning line favorite in the Birdstone next week.
Is Next the older male division leader, even though he is at those marathon distances?
No.
No?
No, I don't think you could. No.
Before today?
No.
No? What if they cut him back?
There's a lot of talk about it. I think it sounds like his trainer just doesn't think he'll be as effective doing what he does best, going a mile and a quarter.
And that makes sense. He's a horse that really has that stamina to click off those consistent.
It'd be fun to see.
It would be kind of fun to see. Maybe they should give it a try. I don't know. I mean, with this the division so in flux, to have a horse that is so consistent, at least find out that you can't do it maybe one time before you go back to the marathon distances.
But you think you'd be able to keep up with what we saw from Arthur's Ride on the front end today?
I'm not saying that, but I think that he is a horse that deserves a shot, at least against some of the other older horses, because aside from what we saw from Arthur's Ride today, who is so scary? Nobody.
Tough. We'll see if their minds have been changed after connections of Next. What played out in the Whitney, and obviously see how he does in the Birdstone coming up. But they have kind of a horse of a lifetime too. That was a former claim that's just been terrific and has turned into a money-making machine for them. They don't come along all that often.
No, and I understand completely. If a horse is doing something well and at the top of their game in whatever that game might be, I get not wanting to change that up, not confuse them, not have them have that race where they maybe don't perform at quite the same level. But he is a horse that really has enough speed, I think, to be effective at some of the shorter distances if they were to try it. Maybe not against Arthur's Ride, but against some others in the division to at least give it a go. However, he's going to be very cool to watch coming up next week. Anytime you get to see horses like that run, that's what builds the fans of racing, seeing those horses that are the stars of the sport do what they do best and just go out and perform.
Meanwhile, in this race coming up, that horse 2-5. We're not even going to get 1-2 probably. And I mean, he's just that dominant against. This horse is very, very good. It's going to take a big step forward, it would seem like, for someone to beat him. And he's won on this kind of track before too.
Exactly. And looking at his last 4 races, all of them are just faster than what we've seen from the other horses in this field. Any one of those performances, he's going to get the job done in this spot. And even if he regressed a little bit, I think he would as well, because we just haven't seen that big breakout effort to be able to match up with the kind of consistency that he has shown over those past 4 races in those higher 90 buyers. Yes, some of the horses in this field have those 1 numbers that are a little bit quicker, maybe could get a piece of things, but they haven't been able to really prove that that's the kind of number horse they are going forwards over time and really back up those performances. So as we've said ad nauseum, he's a standout in this field, and I would be surprised if he doesn't get it done.
He consistently produces races that are just so much better than anyone else in this group. And you look at the rest of these runners, we kind of know who they are at this point. It's not like, I mean, obviously things can happen, things can change, but to see someone stepping up and running a race that they never had before that's so much better seems somewhat unlikely.
I agree, and I think the only unknown in this race maybe is Capture the Flag, because he's an improved horse overall. He's been running on the turf as of late. He does have that first dirt win. If he's a horse that's just taken a step forward, period, maybe he's the fuzzy, if anybody is.
Drake's Passage, main track only, 2-5 favorite. From the outside post here in this finale on Whitney Saturday from Saratoga. He'll be the last in. There's Flavien Prat, Phileas Fogg, and there's Manny Franco on the big favorite. Let's go upstairs to Frank Miramati.
Okay, Greg, here's Drake's Passage. Going up, 2-5 in the final stages of wagering. They're in the gate, and they're off. Phileas Fogg is very quick away from there. Drake's Passage wasn't that fast out of the gate, but moves into contention, and Magical Ways has some good speed too. Around the first turn, down on the inside, Capture the Flag is racing in 4th, but it's Phileas Fogg, the pacemaker, as Magical Ways now moves in to take the 2nd spot. A length and a half back to Capture the Flag in the green and white colors in 3rd, and Drake's Passage settles in 4th, some 4 lengths off the lead. It's another 2 back to Cyber Ninja, who's on the inside of Black Powder. They went the opening quarter in 23 seconds flat, so the pace lively enough for Phileas Fogg. Phileas Fogg heads toward the 5/8 pole, leading the way by a length. On the outside, Magical Ways in 2nd, and Capture the Flag is covered up in 3rd. It's another 3 back to Drake's Passage in 4th. 2 more lengths to the 2 trailers, Cyber Ninja, Black Powder, no change in the running order. Phileas Fogg, 46 flat for that half mile, goes into the far turn, leading and extending that margin up to 2.5. Capture the Flag is clearly 2nd, and then it's Magical Ways losing ground steadily in 3rd. Drake's Passage has a lot of work to do and is going in the wrong direction. Drake's Passage is 10 lengths off the lead, didn't fire at all, joined by Cyber Ninja. They're at the top of the stretch. Phileas Fogg turns for home with a 4-length lead. Capture the Flag chasing as gamely as he can in 2nd. They're a furlong from the finish. Phileas Fogg, 3.5, 4. Capture the Flag has tried so hard to close this gap. And then it's Cyber Ninja in 3rd. Phileas Fogg takes them all the way. Phileas Fogg wins it by 3.5 lengths. Capture the Flag was 2nd. Cyber Ninja 3rd. And Magical Ways finish 4th.
Phileas Fogg, 8-1, upset 3-win day. Flavien Prat and the big favorite was just a no-show here.
I mean, this is why they run the races. We just did not see anything from Drake's Passage today. Maybe he didn't get out of the gate all that quickly, as we can see here, but he was really hustled by Manny Franco to try to get some position, caught very wide going into that first turn. But he had absolutely no response. As you can see, Magical Ways trying to push him out a little bit more even. I don't have enough of an excuse for him, though. I know that was a little bit of trouble early, but he's supposed to do much better than last.
Yeah, got an early call from tracking after Frank Miramati when he was just really not showing anything. No response in the stretch. Meanwhile, Phileas Fogg, this horse shows up today. 5th win, 12 career starts, and Flavien Prat continuing to just be so aggressive and to keep the heat on Arad Ortiz Jr.
and really making that jockey title an interesting race going forwards and a close one as well. We know Ira Ortiz Jr., the favorite to win that title throughout the Saratoga meet, but Flavien Prat, he's going to make it interesting. He certainly made things interesting in this race with an aggressive ride that paid off, especially after Drake's Passage just did not have anything to offer. As Tom Durkin would say, toiling in the stretch.
Prat not just winning a lot of races, he's now one back of Ira Ortiz Jr. with another 3-win day. 8 stakes wins at the meet already. We're not even at the halfway point.
This isn't the halfway point?
No.
Oh, it certainly feels like it now.
Wednesday's the official halfway point.
Official.
14-3, 5-12. Phileas Fogg, 8-1. Gustavo Rodriguez, this one just claimed last time out for Jupiter Stable, and Prat 3-win Whitney Saturday, including a Grade 1 win in the test.
And it must be so rewarding to finally get that Grade 1 win for Ways and Means, a horse that has been so highly touted early on in her career. Flavien Prat really firing on all cylinders throughout this meet. And as you mentioned, the aggression, really getting those horses into position early on in the races. It's a difference maker for him, and he consistently does it over and over again. He's able to get to the front end and keep on rolling.
Made the move from the West Coast here east, and big part of that reason Chad Brown kind of talked him into it, and it was to get the opportunity to ride these big horses and be in the conversation for an Eclipse Award, like Ways and Means in the test, and getting now these big mounts, winning the Diana on White Beam. And he is fit right in here in the toughest jockey colony there is in the game.
He stayed true to his word, Chad Brown. It gives him these bigger horses to be a part of. But we've also seen Flavien Prat be a rider that's picking up more business with other trainers as well, really picking up those rides that maybe would have gone to Ira Ortiz Jr. in the past, really riding in all types of races, but showing up on the big stage especially.
We asked Mig who impressed him the most. We had about 5 seconds. Who impressed you the most?
I would say Ways and Means.
Okay.
You? Arthur's Ride? I know you liked him.
That was a big performance. Excited to see him next time out, see if he can do it again. We're back with you tomorrow, 1 Eastern start time. Check your Fox local listings. Arthur's Ride, Bill Mott, Junior Alvarado, they got a major player in the older horse division. How about Ways and Means? They always thought she was a Grade 1 filly, and now she has that on the resume as she works her way to the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint.
He always showed up. From June at 2 and through 2 championship seasons, week after week after week of consecutive works. That's toughness. He always showed off. You know all about those 4 G1s. Here's his maiden on the Derby undercard. That's brilliance. Now his yearlings are at the sales. That's opportunity. Essential quality. Showtime.
New York breds. Race them.
Respect them.
Bet them.
Respect them.
Breed them.
Respect them.
Buy them.
Respect them.
Train them for a second career.
Respect them. Join us in respecting thoroughbreds at every stage of life. Learn more at nybreds.com.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Nominate your horse today to join racing's elite on Travers Week at Saratoga, August 21st through 24th. The championship road runs through 9 stakes, topped by the DraftKings Travers. Go to NYRA.com/horseman to nominate by August 10th.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.